Stop scrolling right now, because what you're about to hear could completely change how you look at your pocket change forever. Hidden deep inside ordinary collections, forgotten jars, and dusty drawers across America, there exists a version of the 1965 Washington quarter that has stunned collectors, shocked auction houses, and rewritten the rules of modern coin hunting. Today on Rare Coins USA Box, we're diving into a single coin, but not just any coin. This is a piece of history wrapped in mystery. A coin born in one of the most important transition years in U.S. currency. A coin that shouldn't even exist the way it does. And yet, it does. Let's talk about the 1965 Washington quarter, no mint mark. Now at first glance, this coin looks completely ordinary. Millions of people have seen it, held it, and spent it without a second thought. But 1965 was no ordinary year. This was the exact moment when the United States made a dramatic decision to remove silver from circulating coins. Rising silver prices forced the government to switch to cheaper clad compositions, meaning copper and nickel replaced the precious metal that had defined American coinage for generations. But here's where things get absolutely insane. During this chaotic transition, a small number of 1,965 quarters were struck under unusual conditions. No mint marks were used at all that year, creating a mysterious uniformity across all coins. But hidden within this massive production were rare anomalies, coins with striking details so sharp, surfaces so unusual, and preservation so perfect that they stood out like relics from another timeline. And among these, one specific type has taken the collecting world by storm. A 1965 no mint mark Washington quarter with an exceptionally deep strike, mirror-like surfaces, and an almost proof-like finish. Some even show subtle toning, shades of silver gray, icy blue, or soft gold, formed naturally over decades. This isn't damage. This is history painting itself onto metal. Collectors call these accidental masterpieces. Coins that were never meant to be special, but somehow became extraordinary. Now imagine this. A coin that was once worth just 25 cents, sitting unnoticed in circulation, suddenly appears in an auction. Experts examine it closely. The strike is flawless. The edges are razor sharp. The luster dances under light. And then comes the grading, nearly perfect condition. That's when everything changes. Bidding starts quietly, then escalates rapidly. Collectors from across the country jump in. Phones ring. Online bids explode. And finally, the hammer drops. That single 1965 no mint mark quarter sells for over $120,000. Yes, you heard that right. Over $120,000 for a coin most people would ignore. And the reason is simple: rarity meets perfection. You see, while millions of 1965 quarters exist, very few survived in such pristine condition. Even fewer display that near-proof quality that makes collectors stop in their tracks. These coins weren't saved intentionally. They survived by pure chance. And that makes them incredibly valuable. Now here's the part that should really get your attention. These coins are still out there. That's right. They haven't all been found. Some are still hiding in old collections, coin rolls, inherited boxes, or even everyday change. Waiting. Silent. Overlooked. So if you ever come across a 1965 Washington quarter with no mint mark, don't just toss it aside. Look closer. Check the surface. Does it shine differently? Does it reflect light like a mirror? Are the details unusually sharp? Does it have natural toning that makes it stand out? If the answer is yes, you might be holding something incredible. And here's a critical warning from expert collectors: never clean the coin. No matter how tempting it is. Cleaning can destroy its natural surface, erase decades of aging, and instantly drop its value. What looks like dirt or discoloration might actually be the very thing that makes it rare. Instead, store it safely. Use a protective holder. And if you truly believe you've found something special, send it for professional grading. Services like PCGS or NGC can authenticate it, assign it a grade, and unlock its true market value. Because once graded, this coin transforms from simple metal into a certified treasure. And remember, this is just one coin from a world filled with hidden value. The 1965 no-mint mark Washington quarter is proof that sometimes the most ordinary-looking objects carry the most extraordinary secrets. So next time you get change, don't just spend it. Examine it. Because your next quarter might not just be money. It might be a life-changing discovery. This is the 1969 Washington quarter with no mint mark. Struck in Philadelphia at a time when millions of coins were pouring into circulation every single day. On the surface, it looks completely normal. On the obverse, you see George Washington's profile facing left, with Liberty above. In God We Trust, just below, and the date 1969 clearly stamped. Flip it over, and the eagle spreads its wings, holding arrows and olive branches, surrounded by United States of America. And $quarter. It's a coin you've seen countless times. And that's exactly why it's so dangerous. Because you would never think to check it. But here's where everything changes. Some 1969 quarters carry a strange and unusual feature. A dark, almost black layer that spreads across parts of the surface. Most people see this and assume it's damage, dirt, or something that needs to be cleaned. And that's where they make a life-changing mistake. Because in certain cases, this black layer isn't damage at all. It's natural toning, a slow chemical reaction that developed over decades. It forms unique patterns and colors that cannot be recreated. And collectors are obsessed with it. The moment you try to clean that coin, you don't improve it, you destroy it. Let's go deeper. The 1969 Washington quarter is part of the copper-nickel clad series. It has a copper core sandwiched between nickel layers. It weighs 5.67 grams, measures 24.3 millimeters in diameter, and has a reeded edge. Nothing about these specs sounds rare. But rarity isn't always about how many were made. It's about how many survived, untouched. Back in 1969, these coins were never meant to be saved. They were made to be spent, scratched, worn down, and forgotten. And over time, that's exactly what happened. Most lost their sharp details. Their original luster disappeared. Their surfaces were damaged or cleaned. But a very small number survived in exceptional condition. Coins with sharp hair details on Washington. Clear, crisp feathers on the eagle. Original mint luster still glowing beneath layers of natural toning. And those coins became legends. Now picture this. A high-end auction room. Silent. Focused. A single 1969 quarter sits under a spotlight, sealed inside a protective holder. It has been professionally graded. Experts have confirmed its condition, its originality, and its rare toning. Collectors already know what it is. The bidding starts. A few $1,000s, then $10,000, then $20,000. The room tightens. Paddles rise again. $50,000. $75,000. $100,000. This is no longer pocket change. This is serious money. Two bidders remain. Neither one willing to back down. The tension is unreal. One more bid. A pause. Then the final call. Sold. For $168,500. Let that sink in. A single quarter, worth more than a luxury car. This is why demand for rare 1969 Washington quarters keeps growing. It's not about age alone. It's about condition, originality, and unique characteristics that most people completely ignore. And here's the warning you need to hear. Do not clean your coins. Not with water. Not with chemicals. Not with cloth. Because the moment you try to fix it, you may be destroying thousands of dollars in value. Original surfaces are everything. If you think you have something rare, take your time. Get it professionally graded. Don't rush to sell. Because one wrong move can cost you a fortune. So before you spend your next quarter, stop. Look at it closely. Check the date. Notice the color. Because what looks like damage might actually be the detail that makes it priceless. And the truth is, Coins like this are still out there, hidden in plain sight, passing through hands every single day, and most people will never notice. Next coin, this 1985 Washington quarter with the P mint mark might completely change how you see pocket change forever. Because what you're about to hear isn't just about a coin, it's about a hidden anomaly, a silent error, and a piece of metal that turned into a legend without anyone noticing. At first glance, it looks completely ordinary. The familiar portrait of George Washington staring forward with quiet authority. The eagle on the reverse, wings stretched wide in classic American pride. And just beneath the date, 1985, you see that small but important P mint mark from Philadelphia. Nothing rare, nothing flashy, just another quarter, right? But then, something catches your eye. There's a strange dullness to the surface. Not the usual wear from circulation, but something deeper. A faint, almost shadowy haze across parts of the coin. Under light, it doesn't shine like a normal quarter. Instead, it reflects unevenly, as if the metal itself holds a secret beneath its skin. Collectors who've seen these coins call it the phantom surface effect. It's not dirt. It's not damage. And it's definitely not ordinary toning. This effect appears as a subtle, uneven discoloration, sometimes gray, sometimes slightly darker, almost like a ghost layer floating across the coin's surface. And here's the mystery. No two coins show it in the exact same way. Some believe it was caused during the minting process itself. Back in 1985, the Philadelphia Mint was producing millions upon millions of quarters at high speed. During this process, coins go through intense heat cycles known as annealing. If even the slightest imbalance occurred, temperature variation, metal composition shift, or microscopic contamination, it could alter the surface chemistry forever. What came out? Coins that looked normal, but weren't. Others believe environmental exposure played a role. That certain coins, after leaving the mint, encountered rare storage conditions, humidity, air composition, or chemical contact, that triggered this unusual reaction deep within the clad layers. But here's what makes it powerful. These coins were never pulled aside. They were never labeled as errors. They were released, and forgotten. They entered circulation like any other quarter. They bought groceries. They passed through vending machines. They rattled in pockets and disappeared into jars. Decades went by, and most people never noticed anything unusual. But collectors did. Because under magnification, that phantom-like surface reveals something incredible. The texture changes subtly. The luster breaks in unpredictable ways. It creates a visual depth that normal quarters simply don't have. It's almost like looking into the coin instead of just at it. And that's when the realization hits. You're not holding just a coin. You're holding a minting mystery. These 1985 P quarters with this unusual surface effect are incredibly scarce. Not because they were intentionally limited, but because they were never identified at the time. Only a tiny number have been recognized decades later, and even fewer remain in collectible condition. Most are gone forever, worn down, lost, or damaged beyond recognition. That's why when one appears, collectors pay attention. At a recent online auction, one such 1985 P Washington quarter surfaced. It wasn't perfect. It had seen circulation. But the phantom surface effect was clearly visible, subtle, haunting, undeniable. Bidding started quietly, then quickly escalated. Collectors knew what they were seeing. The price climbed higher and higher, until finally, the hammer dropped at an astonishing $52,000. Yes, a quarter. Just 25 cents when it was made, now worth over $50,000. And the market isn't slowing down. As more collectors learn about these mysterious variations, demand continues to grow. But the supply? That's locked in the past. No new coins like this will ever be made again. That's what makes this story so powerful. It proves that rarity isn't always loud. Sometimes it hides in the smallest details. So here's your insider tip. If you ever come across a 1985 Washington quarter with a P mint mark, take a closer look. Tilt it under light. Study the surface carefully. If you notice unusual dull patches, uneven shine, or a ghost-like layer across the metal, stop right there. Do not clean it. Cleaning will destroy the very feature that makes it valuable. That mysterious surface isn't damage, it's the signature of its rarity. Handle it carefully. Store it in a protective holder. And if possible, have it professionally graded. Certification can turn a curious coin into a verified treasure. Because coins like this don't just carry value. They carry questions. They carry history. They carry mystery. And somewhere out there, maybe even in your own collection, one of these silent rarities could still be waiting to be discovered. So check your change. Look again. Look closer.